welcome to yet another brand new episode of the radio channel brought to you by KV number 2 Calicut. You're listening to English FM Let's Lead to Lead with me, Arjun Nivedita. So here we are officially on the third episode of the radio channel. So, what you waiting for? Let's go! Now you'll be like, what are we gonna talk about in today's episode? Well, we're gonna talk about a legend who was born in this month. Guess who? It's none other than William Shakespeare. Now you'll be like, okay, we're gonna talk about plays and poems. Well, wait. Who told that William Shakespeare is limited to plays and poems? Now, what if I go in a phrase saying William Shakespeare in daily life? You'll be like, what? Well, actually, even without realizing, most of us are using many words and phrases which are actually coined by William Shakespeare. And many movies that we watch has its storyline based on his plays. Okay, I'm not dragging the intro. Before getting into anything, let's watch a biography on William Shakespeare, presented by Amisha of Class 10th.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Do any of them know who is the creator of this quote? Yes, it's William Shakespeare, known as Guardian of English, Bard of Avon, or England's national poet, and so on. This great legend was born on 23rd April 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, in England. His father christened as John Shakespeare and mother Mary Aden. His father was successfully a local businessman and mother was the daughter of a landowner. He was the third child of his parents. He baptized on 26 April 1564. He was married at the age of 18 in 1582. His wife was Anne Hathaway, and an interesting fact it is that she was 8 years older than him. They had 3 children. They are Susanna Hall, Hamlet Shakespeare, and Judith Quentin. His plays was started to feature on London stage by 1592. During year of 1592, London theatre scene said that Shakespeare's writing were called as rubbish by another playwright. Afterwards, the same playwright documented his biography. His plays were solely performed by Lord Chamberlain Company in 1594, of which Shakespeare himself was one of the actors. He was completely known all over the globe by 1599. He continued his writing till 1613. He wrote 30 dramas, 154 sonnets, 2 long poems, etc. His best works were Hamlet, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, etc. While talking about his style in writing, he was extremely innovative. He adopted traditional and conventional style by adding metaphors and all. He died on 23rd April 1616 at the age of 52 at his hometown, which was one of the biggest sacrifice death. Let me conclude the speech by giving a famous quote written by Sir William Shakespeare. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Thank you.
Okay, so how was it? Well, no doubt that was really awesome, and I know that you guys now know a lot about William Shakespeare, right? Okay, so you know what? Words are so much powerful that it can go deep into your mind and bring out drastic changes. Now, let's see some of the quotes by William Shakespeare, and to present that, I call upon Neha of Class 10th.
William Shakespeare, the greatest writer and dramatist of English language, has shared a tremendous amount of quotes through his plays, some known for their beauty, some for everyday jokes, and some for their wisdom. And I'm here to share a few of them. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. Originally quoted as, "The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlying." This was quoted in Julius Caesar. It's quoted by Cassius, a Roman nobleman who was speaking to his friend Brutus, trying to persuade him that, in the best interest of public, Julius Caesar must be stopped from becoming the monarch of Rome. This quote is trying to emphasize the fact that it's one's actions that shapes one's destiny, instead of fate or stars. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrusted upon them. This was quoted in 12th by Malvolio. A group of revelers was scolded by Malvolio for their noise and behavior, and they wrote a letter from the perspective of his love for Livia. The letter asked to perform feats of greatness, although each one is ridiculous. His romantic nature clouds his reason, and he believes that the letter is real. And it's at one point that he reads aloud this quote. Through this quote, Shakespeare is saying that some are born into power, while some work for it, and some are put in a situation that requires greatness, and they met it.
Thank you so much for sharing those wonderful quotes with us. Thank you. Now let's talk about movies. Well, this is such a beautiful era where a lot of variety of movies have been released. And recently, a very good movie was released in Malayalam. Which one am I talking about? Well, all the movies that's been released are so good and incredible. But now I'm talking about one particular movie, and that is Joji, directed by Mr. Dilesh Potan and starring Mr. Fahad Faisal as the lead role. Now you'll be like, why am I talking about this movie? Well, this movie is actually inspired by William Shakespeare's Macbeth. So now let's listen to a movie review of the movie Joji by Devangna of class 10th.
Hello everyone. Here we commemorate the birth anniversary of the bard. Shakespearean plays are eternal. They can be set anywhere. Part of what makes Shakespeare's plays so powerful is their timelessness. This versatility is what makes them so easy to recreate in films. As we know, there are so many movie adaptations of Shakespeare in several languages. Very recently, we have a Dilesh Potan movie in Malayalam titled Joji, which is again based on Shakespeare's Macbeth. But it is not a direct adaptation. Ultra realism is a hallmark of the movie. Written by Shyam Pushkaran, Joji is a fantastic portrayal of how greed and power corrupts a family. Power corrupts, so does greed. This is what Shakespeare's Macbeth taught us. Fahad Faisal is an unsympathetic Macbeth that captures the grasping deceased spirit of the times. The film focuses on the three sons of a wealthy plantation owner who are vying for their share of inheritance after their father suffers a stroke. If you compare it with the structure of Macbeth, Joji is a vague adaptation. The brilliant screenplay doesn't let us relax for a moment. Altogether, the movie is phenomenal and a must-watch. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us such a good and detailed movie review. Those who have watched the movie, well and good. But those who haven't watched the movie yet, well, what you waiting for? Just go watch it. Not now. After this episode, okay? So, in the beginning of this episode, you gotta know a lot about William Shakespeare. But there are some rare informations about him. You wanna know them? Well, we have Nandita of class 10 to share some of the rare informations about William Shakespeare. So let's see what those are.
William Shakespeare, known to the entire world as a literary genius, discoverer of words and phrases, the bombardment of tragedies and love stories, he was a man who wore many hats. Well, I'm here with a few lesser known facts about this brilliant gentleman. I deem some of them will stand up. Owing much to his popularity, Shakespeare wasn't just a playwright, but also an actor. That huge forehead, glossy eyes, and his eternal gaze didn't pay for that. Number 2. I'm not that great at interpreting paintings, but I do have noted, just kidding, I haven't, but historians have, that Shakespeare likely wore a gold hoop in his left ear. He was a guy of style as well. This form of Shakespeare is apparent in the Cando's portrait, one of the most popular depictions of Shakespeare. Later, check it out. Number 3. I reckon Shakespeare was no better at retaining his works intact. There are at least 2 plays of Shakespeare that have been lost. For the people who boast that they've read every single one of Shakespeare's works, nope, you're not there yet, but let's hope you will. Number 4. This one is baffling. Nobody knows what Shakespeare did between 1585 and 1592. During this time, there have been speculations of him studying law, working as a school teacher, joining an acting troupe. Still no evidence to prove it. He just disappeared into thin air, only to reappear later. Number 5. Now again, 27 moons of the planet Uranus are named after Shakespeare's characters. Well, Shakespeare is out of this world. He's taking the universe as well. Number 6. Shakespeare was John Keats' muse. John Keats kept a bust of the bard near him every time he penned something down, hoping Shakespeare would spark his creativity. Number 7.
We're all familiar with Shakespeare's life-dwelling sonnets, but he turned over to sonnets because of a plague. All theatres were shut down and his plays couldn't find a place to play. A pandemic can hoist your artistic impulses, it seems. Number 8. Shakespeare's name could be spelled at least 80 ways. Everybody believes the way they spell is right, because there's been no recording of William Shakespeare pronouncing it. Let's just go with how we do it. Number 9. Now, this might give you the blues. Shakespeare is relatively known to have died at the age of 49 on his birthday. His birthday was his death day. Isn't that sad? Don't quote me on that, but it could be true considering a shift or differentiation between the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar. Number 10. Last one is quite creepy. Brace yourself for that. Shakespeare inscribed a curse on his grave, daring anybody to move his body. Don't try doing that. Shakespeare once prevailed and he's no more now, but he lives through his act and action. Happy birthday, dear William Shakespeare. Thank you.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much, Nandita, for sharing those information with us. Now, let's hear the Mark Antony speech from Julius Caesar over to Adit A of class 12th.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it was so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest. For Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. Come, I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is the honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar had wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambitious? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to Brutus' peace. All the men have lost their reasons. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin, there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Adit. Shakespeare is well known for his sonnets, which are quite famous and popular. Now here comes Bharat with such a good sonnet. Over to Bharat.
Hi, I'm Bharat from 10A. I'm going to recite one of Shakespeare's sonnets. Sonnet 18, which I'm presenting today, is considered by many scholars as the most famous sonnet written by Shakespeare. The theme of Sonnet 18 is about how beauty is not permanent, but a person can be preserved through words, because words live forever. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fire from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou vows. Nor shall death brag to wonders in his shade, when in eternal lines to time to ghost. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Bharat. In today's episode, we saw a lot about William Shakespeare, right? We came to know about his life, his works, some of his quotes, some of the movies inspired by his plays, the Mark Antony speech, his sonnet, and of course, some rare informations about him. So how was today's episode? I hope it was informative at the same time interesting. Thank you so much for being with us till the very end. And we promise you guys that we'll be giving you more and more in the coming episodes. So yes, we'll be back with a bang soon. Till then, it's me Arjuni Nivedidas signing out. You're listening to English FM. Let's live to lead. Bye bye.